meteorologist Mark Molnar is your host for the weather show, Weather Northeastern. Let's get right into precipitation amounts across the great continent of North America here. Out west continued a little bit stormy here in Pacific Northwest. Unfortunately, we can't get too much precipitation here for the southwestern part of the United States. But here across the east here, continuations of moisture along the Gulf Coast and stretching up the East Coast likely. This has been the pattern for quite some time and will continue, although that will ease up as I'll show you in a pattern shift. Let's get right into that pattern shift that's shaping up middle to latter portion of next week. This is heading towards just before your Easter holiday weekend. We've got a very zonal flow. We do have some ripples in the jet stream here, signifying it's a little bit of storminess here in the Pacific Northwest and maybe a little bit here in the Northeast, but this should bring temperate temperatures, especially to the east here, where we've seen such a cold winter the last couple months. That will translate to a little bit slightly near or slightly above normal temperatures. So looking very good here along the East Coast, especially next week, where many areas across the Northeast could break out into the highs into the 50s and the 60s. Let's get right into those surface maps extending on from your Friday through your Monday. This takes us through the weekend. Look at this here. Friday, we had that frontal boundary push through. We still have some residual moisture here off the East Coast, and that will persist into Saturday, but nevertheless, we'll get some of those lake effect clouds and streamers going off the lake, maybe some rain or snow showers likely in those typical snow belt areas. We're not looking at tremendous accumulations, so don't look at anything for advisory or lake effect snow warning, but we will have rain and snow likely, so watch out for that in overnight hours. Could get into maybe a slushy accumulation heading on right into Saturday. Look at that reinforcing shot of cold air across the lakes here. Some places of upstate New York like Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, Binghamton not getting out of the 20s, but here across much of New England, as I said, there's some residual moisture that could be tapped into here with some snow up into down East Maine portions of New Brunswick as well. Rain and snow showers likely around Cape Cod and Boston area up to Portland. So looking rather interesting as we try to spin up, I wouldn't call it much a full-blown nor'easter, but we look at some moisture that could signify something here. And of course, we get continuation of some lake effect enhancement here across upstate New York into Pennsylvania, those colder temperatures as well. Very chilly, to say the least. Heading on into Sunday, we start to see a moderating trend as high pressure builds in along the East Coast here, so looking very nice. We'll start to break out some sunshine here, wall-to-wall sunshine, to say the least. And temperatures, as you see, from the Ohio Valley up to the Great Lakes here, warming, pushing up to 40 in many areas here across portions of New England. We start to get into the mid to upper 30s, near 40 in many areas as well. Heading on into your Monday, take a look at this. We start to get those southwesterly winds really ramping up here along the coastal plain here, where we start to get into the 50s and maybe 60, but we see a sharp front here. Thankfully, this will not be the leading edge of any Arctic or polar air. It'll just be a little bit of a cool down by about 5 or 10 degrees after Monday here, but then things quickly warm back up. So we'll start to see the chance of what looks like mostly rain showers later in the day on Monday for portions like the upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York, lower Great Lakes into the Alleghenies, and portions of the Laurel Highlands. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern. I'm going to have a 5-day outlook in about 10 seconds for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton and Elmira, upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, you don't want to forget my Facebook page at MeteoMark, Twitter at WX Northeastern, website, it's also MeteoMark.com or WeatherNortheastern.com, Google+, MeteoMark. Here's that 5-day. From Friday all the way through your Tuesday here, look at this. Cooling things down from what we've seen here, down into the mid-30s in most areas. Scattered rain and snow showers likely. Not much accumulation expected. Heading on into Saturday, we start to see a little bit of breaks of sun, but we'll still see those rain and snow showers and those residual lake effect snow bands here persistent in some areas, clouds likely, most areas. Temperatures held down way into the upper 20s here, really cold for this time of year. But look at this, we get into Sunday, we break above 40 here with sunshine into Monday with some increasing clouds Monday, chance of a late day rain shower. Heading on into Tuesday, not too bad. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.